Now, we have another talk, of course, now coming up for you, which Hilton should be putting up on the screen. And we've got Lauren Cochrane, who is the president currently of the Canberra Skeptics, very hardworking, and she's going to talk about parenting skeptically, which is something I'm sure a lot of you know. If you become a parent, the amount of woo that gets thrown at you like a tidal wave can be overwhelming. So please give her a hand, and I'm sure it's going to be another very interesting talk.
My skeptical interest for quite some time revolved around the things that I once believed were true: astrology, numerology, feng shui, crystals. And then I felt pregnant for the first time 3 years ago, and my skeptical interest changed. I was suddenly more interested in the pseudoscience surrounding pregnancy and parenting. Now, pregnancy and parenthood, and the early years of parenthood I should say, is one of the most vulnerable times of a mother's life. Suddenly, every decision we make is scrutinised and potentially criticised by our own mothers, mothers-in-law, friends, co-workers, well-meaning old ladies at the shops, and of course that tiny voice inside our head that asks, am I doing the best for my baby? We're vulnerable. We're hungry. Hungry not just for the 2 litres of chocolate ice cream in one sitting, but hungry for the sense of control that we want in our lives when we're feeling overwhelmed by hormones and growing, aching bodies. It all begins before we've even fallen pregnant. The average 30-year-old Australian woman attempting to conceive has a 20% chance of falling pregnant in any given month. For women desperate to begin their journeys to motherhood, they may turn to acupuncture or herbal medicine in a bid to... Hang on, where am I? There it is. Sorry. I can hear the feedback, sorry. They may turn to acupuncture or herbal medicine in a bid to tip the odds in their favour. Now, in Canberra, there is a Chinese medicine clinic that spooks their fertility treatments so vaguely that they say you may need 3 full menstrual cycles, or more, or less, depending on your personal circumstances, before you fall pregnant with their help. Now, the website claims that these professionals like to collaborate with IVF doctors as they speak the same language. The doctors of this particular clinic are apparently trained in biomedical science. A Cochrane review of assisted conception concluded that acupuncture performed on the day of embryo transfer shows a beneficial effect on the live birth rate. However, with the present evidence, this could be attributed to the placebo effect and a small number of women included in these trials. The author's conclusions further stated that acupuncture should not be offered during the luteal phase in routine clinical practice until further evidence is available from sufficiently powered random controlled trials. For those desperate for a little boy or a little girl, there is a plethora of old wives' tales about foods or rituals to influence the sex of a child. Now, being old wives' tales, this is obviously nothing new. However, in the information age, shouldn't we expect that the top sources for pregnancy advice actually be based in reality? This is just a handful of articles relating to sex selection methods, all from popular medical, WebMD.com, or parenting sites. Some of these I reviewed do say that there are no guarantees, but this is often buried towards the end of the article or worded in such a way that the average person reading it might not even consider. Now, once we fall pregnant, there's the dreaded morning sickness. About 75% of women will experience this in the first trimester. But have no fear, the original C-band, the acupressure bracelet, has clinical trials to back up their claims that their product can control nausea and vomiting in pregnancy. One study had 23 pregnant women in it, another 27. The design of these trials are questionable at best, notwithstanding the small sample size. Now, once you're over the morning sickness, just make sure that you avoid attending a gazing session with Brazzo, as it may be far too intense for you. The Croatian gazer simply stands on a platform and gazes in silence. Gotta love this. Someone tweet Dr. Raichi that I've mentioned him. Towards the final weeks of pregnancy, the thought of labour can be terrifying. I know, I've been through this twice. You get a bit nervous. What's it going to feel like? Is it really going to hurt? What about pain relief? Will I need an epidural? Hypnobirthing and calm birthing are touted as 2 methods to help women achieve a natural, drug-free childbirth. Hypnobirthing is, as it sounds, based on hypnotherapy, and calm birth is an Australian-developed methodology based on private subconscious mind healing. Studies on subconscious mind healing are notably absent from the psych publications, and a 2012 Cochrane review also found that there is insufficient evidence for effectively managing or treating pain in childbirth with hypnosis. In the spirit of full disclosure, I actually took a calm birth class before my first child because I felt I needed some coping strategies. Ignoring the flowery language, when it came down to crunch time, having my husband count from 1 to 10 during contractions helped me focus and regulate my breathing, and that was the key takeaway from these lessons, and they cost us about $300 for 2 one-hour sessions. As a bit of an aside, one local calm birth consultant lists paediatric chiropractors and the Australian Vaccination Network as useful resources for parents on their website. Now, you may have seen an article in the Sunshine Coast Daily in the last few weeks about the company Placenta Vitality. For $250, your placenta will be picked up and be prepared by a qualified chef. After being steamed lightly with lemon, ginger and chilies, the placenta is dehydrated and ground up before being encapsulated. And what are the apparent benefits of placentaphagia, or eating your own placenta? According to Placenta Vitality, taking placenta pills will increase your energy, enhance your milk supply, prevent postnatal depression, reduce postpartum bleeding, speed up postnatal healing, and replenish iron levels. And the proof? The website PlacentaWise, which notably lists testimonials before research in their navigation bar, cites 2 studies from 1918, amongst a few more modern day references, mostly books. However, Dr. Maggie Blott from the UK's Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists advises that there is no medical justification for placentaphagia. Animals eat a placenta for nutrition, but when the mothers are already well nourished, there's simply no benefit. Now, one of the apparent benefits of placentaphagia is boosting your milk supply. What are some of the other methods on the market out there claiming to help? Booby bickies. A combination of ancient wisdom and modern science. A carton of 10 organic bickies can be purchased for $25.95. When 95% of mothers are able to produce enough milk for their babies, the mothers that think they have a low milk supply probably don't. There is limited scientific evidence to prove the effectiveness of foods or herbs to increase milk supply, regardless of how many cultures have used them over the centuries. Now, I'm quite happy to stick with a pack of 13 mint slice for $3.58, at least they're chocolate covered. And really, after a long day of looking after a newborn, there's only one supposed method of increasing milk supply that I'd enjoy more. Now, my favourite parenting pseudoscience topic has to be amber bead necklaces that are meant to relieve teething symptoms. It's claimed that the amber, when heated by skin contact, releases succinic acid, which has alleged healing properties. Succinic acid has a melting point of 185 degrees Celsius. And I'm yet to hear of an infant cracking that skin temperature even during the worst fever. Beyond that, there's the inherent choking and strangulation risks associated with infants wearing beaded necklaces. However, it's touted as a natural remedy, and therefore people accept the hype uncritically. Despite warnings from the government that these are potentially dangerous products, they are still popular. Retailers will downplay the risks by stating children should not be left unsupervised while wearing the product. But why do products like this make parents believe that it's helping their children with teething? The issue ties in with history and the apparent correlation of teething with severe and sometimes fatal childhood illnesses. A prospective study published in 2000 set out to determine which symptoms may be attributed to teething, and to attempt to predict tooth emergences based on the infant's symptoms. The study found that increased biting, drooling, gum rubbing, sucking, irritability, wakefulness, ear rubbing, facial rash, decreased appetite for solid foods, and mild temperature elevation were statistically associated with an 8-day window around the eruption of a new tooth. However, no symptom cluster could reliably predict the emergence of a tooth. The age that babies start teething, around 6 to 12 months, is a time when immunity through maternal antibodies in breast milk is waning and the child is being exposed to the wider world around them. Thus, caregivers are likely to associate typical illness symptoms with teething. This week, Choice has started questioning the marketing tactics of formula for children over 12 months. The World Health Organization code bans marketing of infant formula for children under the age of 1. However, there is no restriction on manufacturers advertising toddler and junior milks for babies over 12 months. Choice says that these toddler formula products are designed to appeal to parents of older children. However, many parents are unaware that these products are completely unnecessary after a child turns one. The nutritional claims of these products are vague and essentially meaningless. Aptamil claims to nutritionally support your child's immune system and brain development. Nestle Nan, support your toddler's digestive immune system. And Aspen S26 is the perfect mix of science and love. Older children should be able to meet their nutritional requirements from eating a healthy diet without these powdered supplements. Cow's milk is more than adequate for the little ones. Now, I was at a party a few weeks ago where a friend of a friend and I started talking about kids, given that my daughter was playing with hers. I'd mentioned that my daughter, just over 2 years old, is starting to experience night terrors and was waking up quite a bit. I've got a 7-month-old sleeping in the same room, so on those nights that she is waking up, she's going to wake her brother up, and then my husband and I are getting very tired and snappy with each other. The other mum then suggested that I give my daughter Rescue Remedy before bedtime. It had worked for her family. Being polite, I didn't say what I really thought about unproven natural therapies, as she really seemed like a true believer. I didn't want to start anything, so I just smiled and moved the conversation on to another topic. Now, this kind of advice giving is something that mothers experience and willingly seek out on a regular basis. Knowing that we're not the only one seems to help during those nights when we're up at 3 a.m. nursing sick kids or being so busy with a newborn that you haven't showered for 2 days. Hearing it worked for me from another mum is often all the proof we need when we're feeling strung out and becoming accustomed to the smell of baby upchuck in our own hair. The July issue of the Alternative and Complementary Medicine includes an article called "Majority of Women are Influenced by Non-Professional Information Sources when Deciding to Consult a Complementary and Alternative Medicine Practitioner During Pregnancy." The data was obtained by the Australian Longitudinal Study on Women's Health. Up to 87% of women are using some form of complementary and alternative medicine during pregnancy. Of the women that used alternative medicine, 43% were influenced by family and friends, and another 22% primarily by the media, newspapers, blogs and books. With this evidence showing that pregnancy advice strongly relies on word of mouth, how can skeptics support new parents trying to navigate the ups and downs of parenting without succumbing to woo? Can the phrases "it worked for me" and "it's actually scientifically proven" ever be given together as advice? Are we doing the best we can to reach out to communicate with vulnerable, tired mums? Parents are just trying to do the best by their kids, and we need to be there to help them achieve that. We need to let mums know that they're not alone, and we need to be able to guide them away from dodgy claims. It's something I've struggled with. Skeptics have a bit of an image problem at times, and if we want to help new mums, we need to be warm, friendly and welcoming, something that cold hard facts just can't do all that well, particularly when it's delivered by someone particularly if delivered by someone they can't relate to. There's great grassroots mother-led campaigns to combat anti-vaccination rhetoric. The Northern Rivers Vaccination Supporters and Immunisation Alliance WA are just two examples of this. The thing I like about the I Immunise campaign by the Immunisation Alliance WA is that it's personalising vaccinators with relatable stories from these parents. I feel like I've glossed over a lot of the topics I've touched on today, but the thing is that there's so much more that I haven't mentioned. It's hard enough separating truth from pseudoscience if you're not clued into recognising dodgy claims, let alone if you're sleep deprived. Quite fortuitously, over the past week, several Skepti mums have started teaming together to see if we can make parenting skeptically more relatable. Alison Gaylard, Heidi Robertson, Kat Steele, Jo Alabaster, Shelley Stockton and myself have started planning a book for expectant and new parents. We hope that our collective experiences as mothers and skeptics will be able to help counteract the misinformation that spreads too easily amongst parents. As we've discussed amongst ourselves, if only we had a book to refer to that wasn't full of crap. One of the most popular titles on the marketplace, What to Expect When You're Expecting, is chock full of it. With warmth and a little bit of humour, we plan to critically review pseudoscience and old wives' tales relating to pregnancy and parenting, and hopefully plant the seeds of science enthusiasm and critical thinking in the minds of people who need it most, those in charge of raising the next generation. If you'd like to keep updated about our new venture or are a parent yourself, please like Parenting Skeptically on Facebook. We want to build a supportive and friendly community that encourages parents to think critically in a sensitive and respectful manner. I believe that better science literacy can empower parents to critically evaluate what we hear and read. This is absolutely necessary when it comes to issues of children's health and safety, and it's our role as skeptics to help. Okay, any questions? Very nerve-wracking.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Lauren. Step back from the foldback. Thank you very much, Lauren. I think there's probably going to be some questions. I have a question. Those placenta tablets,
Yes.
are they gluten-free?
Unfortunately, I don't think they are.
Does anybody have any questions for Lauren? Yes.
Just quickly, if you had to choose, would you prefer to argue against the rubbish or promote the stuff that's good?
Great question.
I think definitely promoting the things that are good, because you want to be able to present things in a positive manner. I mean, a lot of the time, and I mentioned that skeptics have a bit of an image problem. I've been guilty of this myself. I've been on a Facebook thread with someone who says that they're sending their kids to a chiropractor, and my immediate reaction is, why are you doing that? And I want to get on the defensive and start arguing with them. But the thing is, I then remind myself, wait, I'm a parent myself. I make crap choices some of the time. I don't want to be told that I'm doing the wrong thing. I want to be supported in any of my decisions. So I think being positive and promoting the good stuff, but still showing people how to recognise dodgy claims is the way to go.
Absolutely. I think you can always combat those combat the claims at the same time as promoting the next big thing as well. Now, unfortunately, we do have to move on to the next speaker.